Hello and welcome back. This is Sophia. I'm very happy to have you around as I discuss about economies of scale. What do we mean by economies of scale? Economies of scale are the cost benefits a business gains by scaling up production. These are benefits the firm or industry derives from expanding its production scale, or in other words, they are advantages of operating on large scale. Economies of scale, they are cost advantages that are gained by companies when production becomes efficient. Now, let us look at this on a graph. That is an economies of scale graph, and it is trying to illustrate cost per unit and how that changes as we increase output. Therefore, this graph shows that an increase in the magnitude of goods produced, where the average cost of production decreases. In other words, the price to make an additional unit of product comes down as the company grows. Therefore, companies can achieve economies of scale by either increasing production or lowering their production costs. And this happens because costs are spread over a large number of goods, and costs can be both fixed and variable costs. Now, we have two types of economies of scale. We have the internal economies of scale, which is the advantages accrued to a single firm as its production increases. And this is independent of what happens in other firms in the industry. Therefore, we are saying that this originates within the company due to changes in how that company functions or produces goods. And it is based on internal functions, which include accounting, information technology, marketing, etc., and which also considered operational efficiency or efficient synergies that the company has achieved, and therefore the company experiences internal economies of scale. The other one is the external economies of scale. And external economies of scale are achieved because of external factors or factors that affect an entire industry. That means no one company controls costs on its own. These occur when there is highly skilled labor pool, or the government has provided subsidies or tax reductions, and sometimes because there is partnerships and joint ventures in the industry, or anything that can cut down on cost to many companies in a specific industry. Therefore, we are saying that external economies of scale are those benefits which accrue to a firm as a result of growth of the whole industry. Let us look at internal economies of scale. Internal economies of scale result from an increase in the level of output, and this cannot be realized unless there is increase in output. The internal economies of scale may also be achieved by a single plant of the firm, or they may arise from an increase in the number of plants of a company. So let us look at some of these economies of scale, the internal economies of scale. And our first one is the marketing economies of scale. And here we are talking about buying and selling. These are the benefits which a firm derives from large purchases of inputs or functions of production due to the discounts offered in the process. For example, trade and quantity discounts. The firm may also incur less cost per unit in transportation of goods bought. And when you talk about selling economies, we are talking of the benefits that arise from the distribution and sale of the finished product as the scale of production increases. That is, it is likely to incur less costs per unit in areas such as advertising or distribution. Financial economies of scale. And here we are talking of growth of assets due to the firm's growth. And as a company grows, its assets also increases. And these assets can be used as security to borrow money or loan from financial institutions at low interests. Large firms can also raise more funds through selling or buying of shares or debentures. Risk-bearing economies. We are talking about risk reduction through product and market diversification. We know companies can reduce risks involved in a market through diversification of products or their markets. And diversification of markets or products can be done so that failure, for example, of one product is offset by the success of another product, or a failure of that product in one part of a market may be offset by the success of the same product but in another market. Large companies also try to obtain supplies from alternative sources so that failure in one does not significantly affect the activities of the firm. And that is the risk-bearing economies of scale. Then we have the managerial or the staff economies of scale. And we are talking about large companies are able to hire employees who are either specialized or specialized management. We know that hiring or employing specialized staff and management increases the firm's efficiency and productivity, and therefore the staff is able to make viable decisions that can go a long way in increasing this company's output. And when a company does that, they're also able to put in place better organizational structures which allow for departmentalization and subsequent division of labor. And when labor is divided, or there's division of labor, this can lead to specialization and hence the overall increase in the firm's input. Also, please note that the cost of hiring is spread over a large number of units of output of variable cost of production. Therefore, it is spread, and therefore cost of production is decreased. So we are saying that this cost of labor is minimized when production increases and leading to increased profits. Research economies of scale. And here is whereby large companies can afford to carry out research into better methods of production and marketing. We know most of these companies have a research and development department, and this is very important because such companies can afford to carry out research into better methods of production and marketing. Research, we know it is necessary because of the increased competition in the current modern world of business. And this improves the quality of the product, and also it increases the sales and profits made by that company. So research economies of scale. Next, the inventories economies of scale. Large companies are able to establish warehouses where they can stock raw materials and therefore enjoy large stocks of raw materials for use, especially when there is shortage in supply. Thus, the firm can avoid production stoppages that occasionally happen, and this also protects the company from incidences where suppliers of such material may opt to sell it at higher prices because they realize there's a shortage in the market. We have technical economies of scale, and what we mean by technical economies is the benefits that accrue to a firm from the use of specialized machinery or labor, and especially companies that have access to large capital which they utilize to obtain those machines or hire specialized labor. And the machines use the latest technology and are put to full use. And this makes the farm even more efficient in its production. That is, we are talking about the cost of machines and labor being also spread over many units of output, and hence less costly by giving this company a higher profit.